Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Data Dispatch. I hope you guys are all having a wonderful day. We're going to be coming out with a market update, talking about everything that you guys need to know. We'll be talking about Palantir, especially because what we're seeing across the board is this date of December 13th, this Friday, that's starting to pop up across the headlines, and why this could be a really big catalyst for Palantir. And touching on its price action right now, we have some different analysts that are coming out with different opinions. So we're going to be going through that. We have hit 19,000 subscribers. I can't thank you guys enough. Can we hit, by the new year, 20,000 subscribers is the challenge. Let's see if we can do it. Thank you guys so much. Hit that like button. Of course, not a financial advisor. I'm collecting all the data and dispatching it to you. Now, pop it up on the screen here. Palantir is continuing to pull back a little bit. This is not necessarily a bad thing. Actually, I'm enjoying this right now, seeing Palantir cooling off just because of the crazy run-up that we have seen. This interesting graph here, look at this for just one moment. Palantir, in terms of the S&P 500 right now, is the best performing stock. And you can see by a long shot, on top of NVIDIA, on top of Vistra, and all the other stocks in the S&P 500, look at Palantir all the way up here. This shows you that its valuation is incredibly high. We know this information. However, it's disconnected right now. And we're seeing this momentum behind Palantir that is continuing to accelerate. And this is what we're going to talk about, why December 13th could continue on that acceleration. Talking about Motley Fool here, coming out with this article and stating that Palantir has a chance to likely join the NASDAQ 100 in December, and we'll be getting into why this could happen and what this could mean for Palantir Technologies. Now, remember last month that Palantir transferred its stock from the New York Stock Exchange to the NASDAQ exchange, and the company is anticipating to meet the eligibility criteria for the NASDAQ 100. Now, this is a large growth-focused index that many different ETFs, index funds, different types of funds across the board track, and people that want to get in, investors and retail, and on the institutional side of things that want to get in on aggressive growth, typically track the NASDAQ 100. It is being reconstituted in December, and this only happens once a year on an annual basis. The additions and the deletions of which stocks are coming in and which stocks are going out are announced after the market close on the second Friday of the month. And that's December 13th, this Friday. And the changes take effect on the first trading day following the third Friday, which is going to be December 23rd. So we're going to see that 10-day gap right there. Why Motley Fool is saying that this could likely be included into the NASDAQ 100 for the following year is because Palantir right now is the largest NASDAQ listed company not currently in the NASDAQ 100. So the reconstitution right here announcement, they say here and they claim, can almost certainly include the news of Palantir's inclusion in the index on December 23. And history says the stock could soar during the next 12 months, looking at historical data. Stocks that have previously been added to the NASDAQ 100 in the last decade returned an average of 17% the next following year. So why this matters is because if Palantir is added to the NASDAQ 100, looking at history, what we've seen with stocks going up about 17% on average through December 2025, of course, never taking past performance for guarantee, but with that information and with the current momentum in the bull market that we're in and the AI boom that we're seeing right now in front of our face, what we've seen for the last whole year, index products are they're going to be, if they're included, are just going to be passively buying Palantir, which is going to put a lot of pressure on its share price. You guys ever heard of the QQQ? That tracks the NASDAQ 100. It's one of the most popular index funds that is out there under the market right now. And with the momentum that's behind Palantir, that's the catalyst that I think we could see Palantir reaching up to that $100 threshold. Now, of course, if it's not included for some reason, or if we see any big changes in the market, which we'll talk about here in a second, that is where we could see Palantir being very volatile and continuing to pull back. But for people that are waiting for entry points, these types of sales could be possible areas for different investors to enter, and not necessarily a bad thing for Palantir, regardless if it's a bullish or a bearish position, just due to the fact that sometimes a correction and finding some support and consolidation is healthy for a stock. And this is where they talk about it's unreasonably expensive. But talking about here, the Street comes out with an article talking about this veteran trader who forecasted Palantir's stock rally, says this now. And what they say is that the government is right now Palantir's largest client. And we've seen that with a lot of big announcements since after the election. On December 6th, remember, just about a few days ago, Palantir announced its partnership with Enduro, headlining that it is going to enhance artificial intelligence training and be the leader in terms of the West. And 3 days later, you saw that contract with the U.S. Special Operations Command right here for $36.8 million. And people talking about, hey, that's not really that big of a price. It's more the fact that they were actually able to establish that partnership. And what does that mean for future lucrative opportunities? And Palantir, saying here, could surge, especially as we're seeing a little bit of a pullback right here. And what this analyst gives us price target for Palantir is $90. And I think if it's included into the NASDAQ 100, that's where I could see the growth story for that. He warned, however, shares could be volatile in the short term. Why? Is because what we do have here is the Dow Jones falling more than 150 points right here to notch 4 losing days as the year-end rally takes a breather. In terms of the general market, you see it coming down about 0.25% right here. And why is because tomorrow the CPI data is going to be released. Investors are awaiting new inflation data set to release. In terms of what will be happening, the Consumer Price Index will be coming out tomorrow, influencing how the Federal Reserve is going to gauge its future decision on interest rates. That meeting is going to be happening December 17th and 18th, so next week. And right now, economists are forecasting the headline that inflation to rise about 0.3% in November and 2.7% over the 12 months. If this comes in much hotter than expected, inflation, that's where you could see the uncertainty that starts to rise. Is the Fed going to reduce the interest rate by another 25 basis points? Because right now the market is pricing this at a very high probability that we're going to see another reduction in the rates from the Fed. If we see any type of change in that, that's where we could see more of a reversal. That's where we could see more of a correction in this actual bull market. And on top of that, that's where Palantir could suffer seeing more of a price decrease. So this will only kind of depend on time and really depending on what your bet is here on the near future. We do know that Palantir, sitting at the 70s right now, does have a little bit of a breathing room down here at the 60s if we see a little bit of a pullback. There was some consolidation there at the 60s. If we continue to see Palantir pullback, which is possible, that is what price zones that I'll specifically be looking for to see if a reversal is triggered there. And in terms of resistance, you saw a lot of resistance here at the 80 just a few days ago when we saw that market open. If Palantir gets included into the NASDAQ 100, that's where I think we could see the pop through on that resistance area. In terms of another big company that came in as one of the leaders in the market today, especially for the Magnificent Seven, Alphabet here, parent company for Google, shares jump 6% and have a good rebound in terms of their actual year-to-date performance after their breakthrough quantum chip was announced. Getting into the details here, their shares rose 6% as they revealed Willow, which is a quantum computing chip that the company said performed significantly better on a quantum computing benchmark than its predecessor did in 2019. Now, Willow, they say here, is the second milestone in the 6-step strategy to help develop these quantum computers that can perform useful application. And they use these things called qubits in their chips to represent numbers instead of transistors, which are traditional in semiconductors. This chip has about 100 qubits, and Google has the actual goal to achieve a milestone of 1 million qubits in a chip to bring practical, commercially relevant algorithms that can't be replicated on conventional computers. Adding to the experiment, this suggests that if reality is compromised, is right here, a parallel universes. So when we see quantum computing can get pretty crazy. Willow's an important step in that journey, and Google here coming out with a very bullish announcement, getting reactions here from Elon, NVIDIA across the board. So we'll see what happens with that. What are your anticipations with the probability of getting included into the NASDAQ 100? And what do you think you'll see in terms of Palantir's price action? What's your anticipation on CPI data coming out tomorrow? And what do you think about the quantum computing that could change the world in the future? Peace out. Take care. I'll catch you guys later. Thanks for watching.